Hey everybody, my name's Zack. Welcome to your tasting for this month's Brewers-pick beer subscriptions. This is the beer subscription for March. All right, how awesome is that? Gotta excuse me if I seem a little bit out of it. I just got out of a 7-day isolation. My partner got COVID, I did not. But yeah, it's sort of like seeing people again. Weird. But I hope you guys are well and staying healthy. Just before we get into the beers, quick chat about what's going on at Inner North this next month in March. We've got our annual St. Patrick's Day / Mark Day celebration, where we put on a couple of good Irish beers. We've got our Irish Stout, which is world renowned, and our Irish Cream Ale, which is also they'll be available on tap on St. Patrick's Day. That's the 17th of March, which this year it's very conveniently a Thursday. So come check it out. And if your name is Marcus, and I don't know any other Mark names.
Mark of the Funchy Bunch.
Yeah. But extra bonus, you get 50% off all your beers because one of our early finishers of the 100 Pint Club is named Mark. And so Mark Day is the day that St. Patrick's Day is the day that he finished his 100 Pint Club, so it is also Mark Day. And we celebrate Mark Day every year on St. Patrick's Day. Well played, Mark. All right, we also got a festival coming up. By the time you watch this, we will have just hopefully done the St. Kilda Beer Fest down in Catani Gardens in St. Kilda. So if you made it down to that, great. If you didn't, check it out next year. And at the end of this month, on the 26th of March, we're going to be at the Bendigo Beer Festival. So it's not exactly a festival that makes a whole lot of sense for us to do, but it's a one-day festival, and we really like doing it because it's really casual. It's from an organizing perspective and an attendance perspective. It's just you just rock up and have a good time. And yeah, it was also the last festival we did before COVID hit. So this is the first time they're doing it since, I guess, 2 years ago. That's good news. Bad news is Good Beer Week has been canceled. Yeah, I know. Pretty big call by the Independent Brewers Association who run that now. But good news, Gabs, which a lot of people get confused between the two. Gabs, the big, great Australian beer spectacular that traditionally is held in the Royal Exhibition Building, is still going on at the end of May, and will still be in the Royal Exhibition Building. We might try to do, in May, we might be trying to organize a Brunswick Good Beer Week type situation. We've got 7 brewery bars currently operating in Brunswick, so I think we can work something out. It should be fun. And the other thing we have going on this month is Brunswick Music Festival is happening. The big Sydney Road Street Party, Brunswick Music Festival. I think they're moving it to the parks a bit more this year, but a lot of live music and trying, obviously, a lot of the venues will be involved. So good day to come check us out in Brunswick or get out in Brunswick if you don't live in Brunswick and aren't doing that normally. And we're going to have, also this month, our friends at the Gospel setting up their van in the Beer Street, which is now the Booze Street, because they're going to be serving their whiskey, some real basic cocktails and whiskeys and stuff out of their caravan. We share the Booze Street with them, which is good. So you can come check it out if you want. There's just another reason to come down our little dilapidated back street. And Rascal will be doing barbecues the next 2 Sundays when you see this. The next 2 Sundays in March. First 2 Sundays of March, Rascal will be setting up the barbecue. So a lot of stuff happening. It's good. First up, we got Big Fish Wai-iti. We mentioned this in the last video. Basically, it's beer we brewed for the NZ Hops Great Brew Challenge, where everyone got given a New Zealand hop to work with and tried to make the best hop-forward beer they could. So we did a easy drinking pale ale with Wai-iti hops, mainly because Wai-iti has quite a delicate flavor, but a delicious flavor. The main flavor descriptor, well, you just have a taste. Oh yeah, smells like beer. Maybe a little white peach there. It's so peachy. It's just like peach juice. This hop, delicious. A little bit sweeter than a lot of the beers I make in terms of flavor, but a relatively dry finish. But just lots of peach, a little bit of grass. Just a really easy drinking hop forward beer, pale ale, um, with a hop called Wai-iti from New Zealand. So the reason it's called Big Fish Wai-iti is because Wai-iti more or less means little water or little creek in Maori. So it's the idea is big fish, small pond, right, is the concept behind the name. I don't speak Maori well enough to didn't have enough confidence in my conjugation of big fish in Maori to try and do it, but so I kept it with big fish. But if you know a Te Reo speaker, get them in touch so we can bounce a few names off them. But delicious beer, great for summer. Enjoy. Next up, it was supposed to be fresh hop Flipside, but it's not. So hop harvest season comes when hop harvest season comes. We were supposed to get hops delivered last week. Really fortunate it didn't happen though, because I was in isolation. But basically, the hops are getting picked. For me, they're getting picked on essentially Monday, and we'll be getting them hopefully Tuesday. For you, it'll be like 4 or 5 days from when this video gets released. Not quick enough to turn around a quick dry hopped, wet hopped, fresh hop Flipside. So next month, it's coming. Don't you worry. In fact, we're going to have 3 different fresh hop beers for you. So what we have this week is WTFPA, the brewer's go-to. I've been spending a lot of time thinking about this beer recently and drinking it to get my thoughts in order. It's an old recipe that we've had since the brewery opened, more or less, but it's designed to be a traditional hophead forward beer, like hophead style hoppy beer. So real dank, resinous, weed-like vibes. After a few years of it, I started to think that maybe I need to pull it back a little bit and make it a little bit more balanced and a little bit more appealing to a broader spectrum of people. Especially since even in the industry, hopheads, that style of taste is starting to evolve with the different hops that are on the market. So it used to be a single hop Enigma beer. It's still predominantly Enigma, but I've started bringing in some other hops. And so this batch has Galaxy and Ella in it as well. And still lots of dank, lots of resin, but just balanced a little bit with a bit more stone fruit, passion fruit, a little bit more bright, fruity flavors to balance out that dank. But this is the time to drink this beer is on a Friday night after you've knocked off from work, and you're since you guys have this at home, you're gonna have a couple beers at home before you go meet your mates at the pub. So crack it at 4:30 while you're at your desk. Drink it quickly and enjoy. So that's WTFPA, which stands for Walking Through Forests Pale Ale. No, it's whatever the fuck you want it to be. All right. Last but not least, Big Red. It's a house favorite, the old Big Red. Probably Tim's favorite beer. It's a very malt forward beer, but there's a substantial amount of hops in there. East Kent Goldings and Cascade and Columbus to balance out the malt, because otherwise it would be a very sweet beer. But this This version that you're getting is a slightly more summery version than what we normally do. Just a little bit, like it's not the 7%. It's I think it's closer to 6.4%. But it's all about the malt. So we get malt from New Zealand, the Canterbury Plains, for this beer, and they do a bunch of specialty roasted red malts that we blend up, and just the smell just smells like burnt caramel and honey, and there's still a savoriness to it that's just so delectable. It's my favorite road beer. By that I mean if I'm walking home from the pub, I like to have a can of this on hand. Really good camping beer as well, because it doesn't matter if it gets a bit warm, it still just goes down a treat. Probably not the most summer beer, but definitely the other 3 seasons, it nails it. So red ales are tricky because it's the one beer where you really have to pay attention to the colors of the malt you're using, and each you may or may not know this, but basically each bag of malt comes from a batch of malt, and each batch of malt is analyzed, and the color is measured, and so you actually get, with your certificate of analysis of each bag of malt, you get the batch number and the certificate of analysis corresponding to that. And most of the time you kind of don't really care too much about the color of that, because it's usually within a limited range. But when we brew the red ale, I always have to go double check the batch of malt for each type of malt. And there's like 8 different malts in there. Check the color, put it into our recipe, and make sure it's going to come out at the right color and at the right shade. Because too dark, you got a brown ale. Too light, you got a pale ale. So you just got to get it right. So enjoy Big Red. Should have had some of this in isolation. Missed our birthday. Can you believe it? 4 years. 4-year birthday. Missed it. So that's your month's pack. Next month, like I said, we're going to have 3 fresh hopped beers, hopefully, coming your way. Our fresh hopped Flipside, Life of Brian with fresh hops, and the original, kind of the original version of Big Red we did was actually with fresh hops as well. So with some Australian grown Cascade. So 3 delicious beers, and you'll be able to compare the fresh hop Flipside with our regular Flipside. If you just grab because we just got that in cans, so you can buy that on the online shop, or you can hang on to your bottle of Big Reds for when we bring the other Big Reds here and compare them next to each other, or you can just come buy a couple of cans of Big Red or a bottle of Big Red from the bar. But it's been a crazy month, and hopefully you guys have had a good one, and hopefully March is a good one too. But thanks very much for subscribing, and have a good day. Thanks. Bye. Bye-bye now.